Attention everybody, it's that time of the year again. Yep. It's time to unlock your best life, okay? I want you to unlock your best year ever, to finally say, wow, I don't know what was different, but this year I could really do it. Okay? Are you ready for that? Let's talk about it. I feel like internet is packed with really lots of incredible, informational, useful videos, audiobooks, books, all sorts of things that will really be useful for kind of starting 2025 in a great way. Lots of great advice and people kind of motivating you and telling you how to really set yourself up for this year. What's different is that what you need to know about me is that I, by nature, am not an organized girly. I'm not very proud of it, okay? But if you ask anybody that knows me, anybody around me, the fact that I'm so disciplined is the most shocking thing on earth. It's shocking. It's shocking because I was a child that would go to school and forget a whole backpack. So we had this scene repeating in my household over and over and over and over again. Now it's a bit of an anecdote that my mom loves to tell, but literally we would stand in front of the lift and my mom would ask me in a very sweet way, "Where do you think you're going?" And then I would look at her and be like, I forgot my backpack again. So it was constant. I was not a good student when I started school. You know, some people are just naturally at it. I had this girl in my class. She was naturally so good at it. She had a beautiful handwriting. Of course, I had the worst handwriting in the whole class. She was just on it. She knew everything that was going on. She always had scissors and glue and everything that teacher might have needed in her backpack. Of course, I did not have even the bare essentials that were necessary to kind of maintain. I would bring a pencil and a rubber because my older sister told me that's sufficient. Whereas obviously as a 7-year-old, you needed also all the colors, all the things rulers, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, that's a whole other topic. But I managed to really, really turn my life by every single day trying to be just 1 or 0.1% better than yesterday. Just 0.1% better than yesterday every single day, okay, of my life. So that way, by the time that I came to high school, and more specifically in the final year of my high school, I will put in a receipt, okay? I will put my whole yearbook with my grades, okay? I was the best student in the class. So starting from the worst at age of 7 or 6 in my case, to being the best student in the class at the age of 17. Over the 10 years, I was progressively getting better day by day instead of getting worse day by day. So you have some people that peaked when they were 13 and then from there on they started doing a little bit worse every day. Or you have people that peaked when they were 7. That's actually a very scary thought. Nothing against that. It could have been me, in all honesty, but which person do you want to be? Because time will pass anyway. So let's say that next year, this time, we're going to have 365 days less, right? But are you going to be closer to your goal or are you going to be in the same spot? Because the time will pass anyway. The only difference is what you do with it. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's discuss it. I think I've said this so many times before. Motivation is not something to rely on. Do not expect that I'm gonna film this video and motivate you and then maybe I will motivate you, you will close this video and then you will do something today. But then tomorrow you will already not be motivated. Do you think I was motivated to get up this morning? Actually, the sun is only coming out, by the way, to get up this morning and film this video because let me tell you, I was 95% not motivated to film this video and 5% I was I have to do it. There was a voice, 5% voice being you have to do it. Otherwise, there's not going to be any video on Sunday. And you should never, ever, ever rely on motivation. Motivation is a puppy. It's so fun. It's so cute. When it's around, you feel amazing. But most of the time, I don't have a puppy around me. I need to rely on discipline. And discipline is so hard to have because it's a muscle. So what you can expect from discipline is that you need to build discipline. And the moment that you really have worked on your discipline, you will be unbeatable. I promise you that. So discipline is like this. If you, for example, say today, let's think of something that, like it's quite relatable. I'm going to be disciplined with what I eat, right? I'm going to quit sugar, quit lactose, gluten. I'm going to quit carbs. I'm going to quit. This is like too much quitting. It's very difficult. And if you're like a beginner with practicing discipline, this is just going to be so difficult to achieve. You need to start easy on yourself. So when you go to the gym, and let's say you go on a leg press machine and it's your first day at the gym, are you going to put 100 kilos on it? Of course not. Like, you need to start yourself easy. So probably you're going to start with 10. But then by the end of the year, you will be able to lift 100 or at least 50. But anyway, otherwise, next year this time, if you don't even try, or like let's say you try 100 on the first day, very high chances are that on day 2 you will quit because it's just too difficult. It's too difficult. You need to always build the discipline step by step so the discipline doesn't notice, because discipline can be very, very, very naughty. Discipline almost like doesn't want you to make it, like it's almost like, let's see if you have it. It's almost like challenging. So you need to trick it so that it doesn't see. Like, your brain should not see that there's a change, but there is a change, because the change is, remember, 0.1%. I wasn't like a worse student at the age of 7 and the best student at the age of 9. I was still amongst the worst students at the age of 9. But at the age of 12, I was already doing fine, At the age of 15, I had great grades. At the age of 17, I was the best student. So that is kind of how you build it. You need to give yourself time. So we covered the most important thing, which is motivation cannot be relied on. Discipline is what we need to build to achieve and to unlock the best year yet. And I promise you that if you are disciplined and consistent from today until the last year of this year, you will notice results. I promise you, there is no way around it. Okay? Now, before we start talking about my personal goals and missions and habits and how I tend to achieve them, I just wanted to say something that I also mentioned on my stories. If you feel like it's already a mission to kind of just go from a day to day, because maybe 2024 was a very difficult year. Maybe you're going through grief. Maybe you're battling much bigger battles than just setting goals and thinking about discipline. Maybe life is just not easy right now and the goals are the last thing that you want to think about. I want to say that that's absolutely fine. I think like the goal setting and kind of whole like ambition and discipline space can also be very toxic if it's like, why you can't do it. There are different people with different life experiences, and for me personally, what's very important about my channel is that it's a comfortable space for everybody. It's a comfortable space for people who want to achieve more, but it's also a comfortable space for people that are just like, that just want to listen to somebody, and you know what, maybe they don't really want to try and fight for like a random goal right now because there are other things on their mind. And I want to say, you need to always focus on your path. Don't look at what somebody else is doing. Maybe your friend has a goal of becoming a gold medalist at Olympic Games, but your goal is only to finish this year of university, which is already a big goal, by the way. Or maybe your goal is just to go through another day. And each goal and each mission is valid and important. You need to stay in your path, not look at what other people are doing, because that will distract you from your path. The grass always seems greener. And let me tell you, I've been through 20s. I feel like now I'm in the place of my life where I can promise you the grass is not greener. Not in somebody else's relationship, not in somebody else's household, not in somebody else's career path, in nothing. Grass is green where you are. Okay, it's green enough. And sure, you can get it better for yourself, but for someone else, that might not even work. Or somebody else's setup would not work for you. So please, please, please take this message to take care of yourself first and to only Set missions and goals for yourself that work for you. And if you have 0 goals, that's 100% fine. Take care of yourself, put yourself first, and that's already a very, very big thing for 2025. Because I know that I have a lot of girlies and guys out there that love me to talk about goals, about how I do it, about how I plan my year. I'm gonna do it for you guys. So we have a bit of something for everybody throughout the year. And if you don't like watching goal setting and that sort of stuff, there are hundreds of videos on my channel that you can go and watch. You can watch a shoe collection video, or a fashion week diary, or a Q&A, or Filippo roasting my previous outfits, if you wanna watch a bit of that. So setting goals is much harder than one can think. It's not that it's difficult, because I can take a piece of paper, sit down and write a lot of different things, from goals such as have longer hair or more beautiful skin, or fix your posture, work out, eat healthy, quit sugar, to, I don't know, like reach certain financial or kind of like personal goals. But one thing that we have established, goals have to be realistic, they have to be measurable, they have to be precise, right? So have better skin, what does that even mean? How can you measure if your skin is better or not? And I should know that, because actually at university, I even kind of like specialized a little bit in like doing research. So have better skin is such a subjective thing that you cannot even scientifically really prove it. So there are so many things that you need to make sure are measurable. So let's say that we don't have to time it, because we know that our deadline is the end of 2025. But I would like to invite you to sit down, take a piece of paper, and just pause this video to write some goals. The first things that come to your mind. You can divide them in sections such as personal, career, let's say like health. Personal can be like related to personal relationships such as family, friends, and love. We can have some financial ones, career related ones that can merge into financial or not. And you can have some kind of like health, well-being. I mean, there's so many goals that you can have. You can have one related to your home, or even materialistic goals, you know, such as, I don't know, like get my first Birkin. It's okay. Anything can be a goal. Anything and everything. And as long as you write it all on a piece of paper and you look at it, I want you to identify out of all of those goals, 3 goals that this time next year will really affect your life. So I think like my friend Xenia and I, we have a lot of goals, and we made a lot of goals, and then we were going to do this chat, and I asked her, Xenia, so which of these goals are actually going to really affect your life? Because look, I could say I want to have longer hair by 2026 or whatever. I just cut my hair, by the way. But is that going to affect my life? Most definitely not. Or I can say move to another country. Not my goal, by the way, but I'm just giving examples. That would definitely affect my life. Or I could say buy a house. That would definitely also affect my life. It could be so many different things. I want you to identify 3 goals that will actually really change your life. Perhaps you really need a car to be able also to do your job easily, and that's really like kind of a big goal. So you need a car, and that will really help you and change your life by the time it's next year. So I want you to identify those 3 goals, and I want you to put them as like first top priority goals, because if the goals are not as big, yes, it's very nice to tick them off before the end of the year, because that also gives your discipline a little bit of like, ha, you see, I can do it. But it's very important to identify which 3 goals are the most important ones, because it's so easy to get lost in millions of goals. After you got your top 3 priorities for the year, what are we going to do about them? Just leave them there on a piece of paper and like move on with our lives? I don't think so. The most important line that I want you to take from this video is insanity is doing the things the same way but expecting different results. That I'm not going to take credit for, because I believe it was Albert Einstein who said it. So yeah, not credit taken for that. It would be insanity if I was to post same content on Instagram, same content of YouTube, same content of TikTok, but expect that algorithm will skyrocket me into the stars or whatever this year. That's ridiculous. Like, people who also rely on algorithm, or, oh, universe or whatever will bring me there. Yes, like, look, it will bring you there if you bring yourself there. I am not going to make this into any kind of like religious or spiritual thing, but I remember a quote that someone told me when I was a child, and it was like, God said, help yourself and I will help you too. And it's a fact. You need to help yourself if you want help from whatever the energy, the God you believe in. That is number one. Do not expect that this year you will have better results if you're doing the same thing as you did last year. Do not expect that you're going to have a better body if you're only going to go to the gym in January and quit it. Do not expect, Tamara, that you're going to have a better posture if you just wish for better posture, but you don't go to your Pilates or you don't visit your chiropractor, because the posture is just, it needs work. You need to change the ways you're doing it. I tried doing like wearing those belts and the bands and things, and it did not work. And I decided to try something new. So I tried something new, and that's the only way. The beginning of the year is a perfect time to start and try new things. So talking about that, you have your goals, and now you have to think, how are you gonna get closer to them? So I'll tell you what's one big goal of mine for this year. I think I've said it like 100 times, to not be on autopilot. By being on autopilot, I just like wake up, I get on my phone, I'm doing emails right away, I'm checking what I need to do, I'm filming, I'm taking pictures, I'm filming TikToks, I'm working. And you know what? I'm not listening to my intuition. I'm not listening to how I feel. I'm not listening to my body. I'm not in tune with everything around me. I don't realize. This is what bothered me. And this is what was my wake up Tamara call. I did not realize that my friend was struggling emotionally. And I'm very, 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 very in tune with feelings. And I'm like, I can see when someone is not doing well. Like, even if our friends try to lie to us and say they're feeling good, you know, the strong friends, I always can tell when they're not really doing well. But it happened to me at one point that I couldn't realize that my friend was doing well, and I really felt guilty. I mean, it only was like half a day, and then I realized at night, I was like, oh my God, I need to be there for this person more, but I should have realized earlier. And I should have realized earlier, but I didn't realize because I was not in tune with myself, with my inner self. Because of that, I wasn't in tune with her. And I think like when you stop being on autopilot, you are going to have better relationships, you're going to have better health, you're going to be better like in everything, because you will be able to respond to outside cues in a better way. So that's a big, big goal for me. But how do you stop being on autopilot? So instead of just like wishing for it, I set myself few habits. And again, for this is not what I'm going to take credit for, but habits are what is going to bring you to the goal. And I've spoken about this so many times, but I believe in 2021, I read a great book called Atomic Habits. I will link it for you guys to buy it below, because I strongly recommend it. I don't think I recommend too many books in a year. This is not a new book. It's a great book though. I think you should read it. Atomic Habits is a book kind of like in which you will learn what you need to change to get to your goal and what you can't do if you want to get to your goal. So I realized, okay, I need to change my habits. And in my morning routine, I put 1 hour after waking up, no mobile phone. That will help me connect with my thoughts, think a little bit deeper, and just not wake up and go straight on autopilot, right? It will allow me 1 hour of time in the day to really like understand what's going on, think about things, reflect, and get in touch with my intuition. In my morning routine, I also have journaling. I am finally back to journaling. And it's not so easy to keep it up, because some mornings you have to go to the airport at 6 a.m. So when are you going to journal, right? But I make sure that every single day I find time for it. And every single day I journal one big page of thoughts, feelings, plans, big kind of intentions for that day. I make sure that I set myself like 1, 2, or maximum 3 intentions for that day, because that makes it easier to fulfill it, instead of having like a to-do list that I always have a to-do list running of like 25 tasks. That way I am getting more in tune with myself and I'm less on autopilot, which actually already feels great. And it's only like 10th of January today. So one way of getting closer to my goals was that I fixed a very set morning routine. Now, in my morning routine, let me just open my Notion. I use Notion for pretty much everything. I have a little check page, I have to-do list, I have content ideas on there, I have my goals, I have my vision journal, I have my packing list, which is kind of like master plan of everything that I need to pack when going on different kind of trips, whether it's like a ski trip or a summer trip, because for my summer trip I would have lots of more, I don't know, like beauty products that are related to hair and skin and SPFs and all of those kind of things, whereas on my skiing trip I would obviously have more thermals and things like that. So if you guys are interested in Notion, or this is not sponsored, I've never worked with Notion before, but I love it and I use it. I've used it since forever. So I would have on my morning routine, I'll show you what. Where is my morning routine? My routine. Get up at 7 a.m. Yes, I do not get up at 5, but I do not get up at 9 either. I get up at 7 a.m. every single day, no matter what. I make sure that I drink water. Now, my goal for 2025 is to drink 2 Stanley Cups every single day. That's because I'm slowly but surely getting into my bridal skin situation. So it's one of my big missions, having like perfect bridal skin. No phone for the first hour, like I discussed. That's for my autopilot. 5 minutes stretching. 5 minutes stretching really helps with back pain. Back pain really helps me with getting to my posture. I've been talking about the posture for at least 10 years. Take my supplements. I'm very, very strict on taking my supplements. How much have I spoken about that? I need to take my supplements. So red light therapy. While I'm journaling, I'm using the red light that is not on my eyes, whether it's the one that goes on the bottom part of the face or the one that I put it like on my head. Red light therapy is essential every single day. Again, part of my bridal beauty treatments. I like to scroll through my different kind of vision cues in the morning as well after I finish non-phone and journaling. And what's very important to me is to set intentions for that day. What really changes setting intentions for the day? Let's say my goal for the year is to relaunch my blog. It's not, because I've just relaunched it, I think, last year. I don't know if you guys read my blog, but I also talk a lot about goals, ambition, motivation, and things like that on my newsletter. Filippo just woke up because he does not have a yearly goal of getting up at 7 a.m. on a weekend.
It's not a weekend, baby. It's a Friday. It's a working day.
Friday is kind of weekend.
No, non è.
The reason why intentions are so important when writing my morning routine is because it's very easy to, again, run on autopilot and not get that one thing that I could get out of that day. Just like one thing that I need to get out of that day. So think about this. What I was just telling you. Let's say my goal for the year is to relaunch the blog. It's a huge task. I know it might seem like it's not a big task, but you need to divide your big goals into small steps. So how do you relaunch the blog? You need to start somewhere. You need to email a web designer. Let's say you don't have a web designer. You need to start by Googling web designers, by checking the websites or blogs that you like and checking who designed them, by kind of contacting people, asking for quotes. That's how you start, and that's where you start. So for example, I'm not going to wake up today and relaunch the blog because it's a huge piece of cake to bite into, but I can have an intention of emailing 3 web designers today, right? So since the beginning of the year, I every single day had little intentions. And this year, I have a huge baby coming out.
What is?
Like a biggest project for me of this year.
Really?
The biggest one. What is it? The one that's been in making since 2020.
Is it the fashion brand or beauty?
Oh, Papa! Baby, why are you tricking them? Do you want to give them some clues?
Is it
Huh? Not an actual baby. I mean, maybe a baby.
So
like...
this year we are going to get married, have a baby, and buy a house.
So baby, buy a house, and get married.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
No. But one of the 3 for sure. One of the 3.
Those are Filippo's big goals that all 3 will definitely be life-changing.
No, but it's not, baby, it's not wait.
Because I asked him, what are your big 3 goals? He said, have a baby, buy a house, and get married.
So, one of the 3 biggest goals I have in life, not for this year, is to buy a property, to have a family, and to get married with you.
Like a dream property.
Dream property, yes, but also a dream wedding and also a dream baby. You know what I mean? But we don't know when. You know, life is unpredictable. It's not like everything right now. We would love to do that, and we will put it out there in the universe, and then maybe something will happen this year, something next. But the good thing about us, I think, and about life, and about the way we see life is that we're not. If it happened, it happened.
The good thing about us is that every single day we're a little bit better than yesterday.
Yes.
That's the most important thing.
Yes, it's true.
I think like since the beginning of this year, every single day I wrote intentions in my morning journaling. And that's so easy because I journal, I do LED, I drink water, and I write intentions and I take supplements. That's like 5 habits in literally like 20 minutes. And I tie them to each other. So I get them done like this, which is great. So it feels really rewarding also when I get to tick them off. I make things easier for myself. I'm not gonna go and make things like really difficult and complicated, and then like I have to write separate intentions and I have to journal separately and I have to take supplements at like I don't know what time of the day specifically. That would all make it more difficult for me to stick to my habits, which are leading me to my goals. So I like to make things as simple as possible. Like I told you, LED, water, supplements already leading me to my kind of like beauty goals, let's put it that way. My journaling, my no phone in the morning, setting intentions is leading me to my career and to my not to be on autopilot goals. My stretching and kind of like stretching in the morning, stretching in the evening is already bringing me to my posture and like also physical well-being goals. Every little day, just 0.1% better, as long as you're not stagnating or getting worse. That is the goal. And I think like it is so simple to do it if you just set like small little habits that are not too difficult to achieve. My intentions this year were various different ones. Literally texted the doctor and I had the first laser facial of the year because that's also in my like skin goals. On that same day I had like, because we were in Dubai and I wanted to do a few things, I was texting the hairdresser. I had a haircut, as you can see. Those were like the little before we actually got back to work. After we got back to work, it was like email the web designer, I've done it on the day, you know, like little things. I didn't put huge things for myself. I didn't like put insane things. On the first working day, my intention was have one-to-one calls with all the team members, and that took a whole day, you guys, but it was so useful. It felt great. We were like on top of things. And those setting intentions things, it means that you are just doing like one little thing that day that is bringing you closer to your goals besides your habits. So you do your habits that are anyway bringing you closer to your goals, and then you set like 2 to 3 intentions for that day that are gonna make you closer to one of your goals. That's it. For Filippo yesterday, it was emailing a lot of like estate agents, not just where we want to buy our dream property, but also in other places. And, you know, Filippo was kind of, we even went to see a house yesterday. So different things, different missions, different little things. It didn't mean that we were going to buy a house yesterday, but we were one step closer to it. To make things a little bit more fun, I also wrote a wish list for the year, which would help me buy things that I want. So I sat down and I was like, let's think about this in a very, very curated approach kind of way. So I sat down and I wrote the things, like I wrote my Hermes bag wish list, I wrote my jewelry wish list, and things that I really wanted to get this year. But I also wrote a list of things that I do not want to buy anymore this year, because I don't want to get in the trap of buying things that I do not need, because I'm on an autopilot and I'm not properly thinking, and then I end up buying like a 5th same brown bag that I already have. So more in tune with myself here, and kind of like more aware and present of everything that's going on. So I also wrote a list of trips that I wanted
Maybe shall we give a clue on what we're going?
Filippo to do. And
Or
this
not.
is the reason why I woke up very early this morning, because today we're actually traveling, which is what you're going to see in the next vlog.
Guess, guys, where we're going.
Can you also pack my stuff of that?
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah?
I'm packing all your stuff for the mountain. So you don't have to think about
Thank you
it.
so much, baby. So for January, I obviously have my trips that I want to make for February, for March. February and September, I don't have any trips planned because obviously it's fashion month for me. But all the other months, I kind of put dream destinations of where I wanted to travel in that month. And that way I can look at it every day. I can kind of like in a more curated and aware way reach what I really want to. But what's also very important is that by the end of the year, maybe you don't want anymore some goals. Maybe you change your mind. Maybe life brings you somewhere else, maybe to a better place. And that's also okay. I think like the true flexibility and power in being good at like navigating through life is actually releasing what's not serving you anymore, is accepting what comes into your life and always believing that whatever happens is for the best. That's one of my big wishes for you, to whatever life throws at you, whether it's good or bad, you kind of take in with open arms and know that it's for final goal and final destination. It's going to bring you to maybe even a better place than you even thought of. On topic of vision boards, yes, I do make vision boards. I do not make monthly vision boards. I know some people do monthly vision boards. I just make one at the beginning of the year that kind of resonates with me on top of the vision board that I make, that I then end up putting as a desktop on background on my computer and on my iPad. I also have a Pinterest board, which is like only available to me, that I scroll through in the mornings after I've done my journaling, so that I remind myself of the things that I would like to achieve this year. And those are the kind of little things that I really enjoy doing, because I like arts and crafts. I like dreaming. I'm a dreamer. I'm a typical Pisces, I guess. And I could get lost in vision boards. I could be doing vision boards for like 365 days a year. But again, I do think that's beautiful. I do believe in like manifesting what you want, but I think you have to work on it. And I think you need to have a strategic and a structured plan, because if you have exams to do this year, it's not enough to just put them past exams on the vision board. You need to make a structured approach how to do them. And trust me, I was a student once upon a time. I have master's degree in pharmacy. It's not an easy university, but I had lots of fun at university. And I had great grades at university because I managed to really strategize and structure the way that I study, when I study, how I study. And I think that honestly, you kind of show how good you are at planning while you're still at school, because that's when you need to like divide and conquer. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite you to leave comments if you would like any more parts of this topic discussed. If you want to hear more about this, definitely do subscribe to my newsletter. I think we sent this year 3 different ones. One was about resolutions and how I plan on sticking to them. One was about setting goals. One was also about my no-buy list even, and my ins and outs of 2025, kind of things that I want to release, habits that I don't want to have anymore, and habits that I would like to adopt this year. Overall, I hope some of you found this video a little bit useful. I hope that this will help you get closer to your goals, your missions, and I hope that you already wrote down some habits that you want to have and adopt. But remember, you really need to start small step at a time. Don't give yourself too much. Don't bite too big thing that you cannot chew. It's like so important to start little in order to be able to stick with it and to practice discipline. And then when you're already like on an advanced disciplined level, then you can bite a little bit more. And trust me, it will be so fast. The time will pass anyway. 2026 will come. But do you want to be in the same place where you are today? Or do you want to say like, wow, last year this time was different? I wish you all the best once again for 2025. I wish you to reach all of your dreams, goals, to have your loved ones, to be healthy, and just to kind of be able to say, wow, every single day I'm a little bit better. Wishing you a lovely day, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.